Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Lynn, and I have this channel for a few different reasons. For one, I love to crochet, knit. I do a touch of weaving. There's many crafts that I like to do. And I do homesteading. I have a greenhouse, and I do canning and pantry staples and just lots of different things. So I hope you stick with me today and see what's going on. When the last episode I did, I showed y'all the beach bag that I did in the Georgia Bulldog colors, and I really enjoyed that one. And I did say that I wanted to make the smaller version to kind of make a purse out of it, and I plan on that. I just I've gotten a little waylaid. I I haven't been feeling all that great. Back right before my husband's birthday, I think I got bit by a tick. The only reason why I say that is because a couple of nights prior, I had been laying in bed and felt something crawling on my arm, and looked down and it was a tick. So I disposed of it, flushed it straight down the toilet. It used to be like when I smoked, I would take it outside and put it in my ashtray and light it, to kill them. Um, this was 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I was not going to be doing all that. I don't smoke anymore, so I wasn't going to wake up my husband to find his lighter. So I just flushed it down the toilet. And then a couple days later, we're at my husband's birthday dinner, and the back of my neck and the base of my skull had been really tender. And I thought it was because there's sometimes with my hair being so long that at the base of my neck it'll start getting really knotted up, and I'll run my fingers through it, trying to work the knots out. And in fact, I just felt one. It's so weird. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the way I hold my head with the collar of my shirts. I don't know. But anyway, I thought it was tender because I was pulling out so many. I was running my finger through so many knots in the base of my hairline. Um, but I was looking down at my grandson, and I ran my hand down the back of my hair, and I felt a huge knot. And I told my daughter-in-law, I said, "Feel this," and she reached around the baby and she felt it, and she's like, "Golly, Miss Lynn, that's huge." And it started itching later that night. I mean, itching. Like when my sons were little and in grade school, they came home with lice, and of course I would get it. We're a very loving family. My babies were all over me, and I had a severe reaction. My whole entire scalp became one humongous sore. And I can't even, me and my husband were discussing this the other day, and I can't remember which doctor. I didn't get tested, or they just said that they thought that I might be having a reaction to the saliva in the lice. So it proved true, over the next couple years until we transferred our sons out of that school. And it's funny, I homeschooled them about half of the year that year in second grade. And then the school they started here close near us, that we were not zoned for. Now get this, we were zoned for a school 20 minutes away, almost 20 miles away. And the school that I put them in with the No Child Left Behind Act law was only 7 minutes down the road. Imagine that. But we're right here on the cusp of being right outside of Aiken to where we're almost into like Ridge Spring and Minetta, and that's what they're zoned for. Well, back then, I don't know what it is now because they're 26 and I have no clue. We're about to find out with my grandson because he's 4, so we'll see. But anyway, really off on a tangent. Sorry about that. Um, but I never had that problem after we took them out of that first school, and I love the school and I love the teachers. And in fact, that was where my husband had went to elementary school. But the whole life situation was horrible. And after that first reaction, I went overboard. If we got a note sent home, everybody got treated, the house got treated. Even if I never saw a sign of lice, I was not going through that again because it took forever to stop. Do you know what cradle cap is on infants? That's kind of the thing that I was dealing with all over my scalp because I had this, it's basically one big scab, and I was always very careful after that. If my nieces even mentioned that they got lice, I didn't go around them. Or if I had been around them, I went ahead and treated us all. Let me tell you, you see this very fine, thin hair? It was in rough shape for a few years when the kids were all in elementary school, and then when my 2 younger nieces, they're 15 and 16 now, but when they were a little younger, yeah, that my hair stayed in rough shape only because I had put so much what's the name of that stuff? I know it. No, that's dye. I can't remember. It's a lice treatment. It's 3 letters. And I know y'all are probably hollering at the screen, and I'm sorry, but anyway, so when I put 2 and 2 together, I think that's what it was because I started scratching it when it became so itchy, and I had my husband look at it the next day because it didn't feel like it was going down any. And I had him look at it, and he said basically I had scratched it. And yes, I have claws, but even if I didn't have my nails long, I still would have scratched it to where it was a raw mess because it itched that bad. So since then, and I always I wasn't feeling good, so I thought I attributed it to my grandson coming over and us going full blast with him to where me and my husband was recuperating the next day, and then I blamed it on I hadn't ate that day, so I was feeling tired and nauseous, and I don't. I got to thinking about it this morning, and I don't think that's what it was. I do really think now those things could have been contributing factors, but I think what it was is my body was trying to settle down after being bit by the tick. I've lived in the woods. I grew up in the woods. I grew up in it, in Appling, um, which is a very teeny tiny town on Clark Hill Lake in Georgia. And we had pine trees. That's all we had was pine trees. And here I'm surrounded by pine trees. So there's never been a point in my life to where I wasn't around ticks. But this particular guy, I think he really did he did me one over. So um I haven't decided. I started a video yesterday, and I'll get to what I've been making and whatnot, but I'm trying to explain kind of where I've been. Um I was making a video yesterday, and it was with one of those. It's a Centro, um, little circular knitting machine, and I've used it before. It could have been the yarn that I was using. It could have been the shakiness that I was attributing to not eating. and that could have been one of the factors. But the more I thought about it, I've been kind of shaky, not to the extent yesterday, but I think the not eating maybe asturbated it. I mean, yeah, can't even think of my word right now, but it just made it worse. But I put I I put everything to the side, and I said I can make this an in progress video for y'all. I don't know that I'm going to continue it, so I might edit it or have my son edit it and add it toward the end of this video, because I did learn a few things about that knitting machine during my episode yesterday, and I do want to pass that on. I don't know. After dealing with the issues with that, I may try it again with a different yarn, because this was Red Heart Retro stripes. But I don't know. I get so much enjoyment out of knitting that I might not do it. I might not use that machine. And if I don't, I will end up selling it. I got it relatively inexpensive, so I can probably get my money out of it really easy. But the stress that I was feeling yesterday, and you can hear it in the video, you really can, because I could not camouflage it. I was trying my best to keep my stuff together, but I'll decide, you know, since I don't think I'm going to complete that video as far as making the hat from start to finish, I may just get it edited and add it at the end of this video. Depends on how long I run my mouth. On that note, I want to show y'all something. On that 23 yard sale, that Highway 23 yard sale, it was so funny. This lady came up to me and she was looking at everything I have, and I can reasonably say I know why she asked the question. I knit hand towels, I crochet the hot pads, trivets, however you want to say it. And she's like, do you have handmade, or do you have washcloths? Now, she said the words washcloth, but my mind went to dishcloth, because I think I've explained in one of my other videos that I stopped making body washcloths a long time ago, not long after I started, because for an adult, I didn't want all the unmentionables hairs getting stuck in them, and that's just nasty to me. Even if you wash them, the next time you go to wash your face with it, you don't want hairs from other parts of your body. Yeah, no. Anyway, so um, so I took it to mean dishcloths, and I told her, I was like, you would ask me that, because the one time that I took all of my washcloths out of that Texas bag that I showed y'all last episode or last video that my late mother carried. I took it out of there and put it in this little bag that I carry just for that. And any other time I would have had 8 to 10 wash rags or dishcloths on hand, and I could have sold them. So it got me to thinking. Now I make dishcloths. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I make dishcloths, and I make dish scrubbers. So on the dish scrubbers, I want to say 10 to 12 um, little balls of this Yarn Bee Scrubology. Now you see that little thing there? That is a Hobby Lobby clearance sticker. And when these went on clearance, I want to say 6 years ago, maybe? No, could have been that long. Maybe. I don't know if it was when my son was in college up in Columbia, or if he was working at Amazon in Columbia. But he would, I have a Hobby Lobby here in Aiken, but they don't have a whole lot of clearance stuff. The one time that I got a lot, and I'm talking a buggy full of clearance, it was it was before my son bought me these in Columbia. But anyway, they're now this was back when they just now started. The very first time I did the Hobby Lobby clearance, it was when they still carried quite a few other manufacturers' yarns. Now they pretty well stick to their own brands, which is Yarn Bee. I love this cotton. I love this yarn. There's another one. I don't really shop Hobby Lobby that much anymore. And every time I say their name, I hear my husband. He has this funny way of saying it. And every time I say it, I hear him say it. I'm sorry. It's just, that's why I'm grinning so much every time I say the name. And I know he can probably hear me. So I wish I could get him to say it. Can you say it, baby? Oh, maybe he's not in here. Maybe he can't hear me. But anyway, so I have, like I said, 10 to 12 of these little Scrubologies. Now, they don't make this particular one anymore because I looked at their website and they have like a Scrubology 2.0 that might be the closest. And I want to say uh, Sugar and Cream has one that has these, it's part of this scrubby kind and part cotton in one ball. And I know Red Heart has a scrubby type um, yarn for these little scrubbers. But I've made, and I'm still working on one. I have it on my knitting needles. Now with this type yarn, I don't crochet. I strictly knit this one only because, and my hair gets into everything. Good grief! I swear, if anybody ever got murdered or died under suspicion, and they had any of my makes, they they would pin that murder on me just because I have DNA everywhere. But anyway, uh, I like to knit with this because you can't really. I'm gonna try to see if I can't. Oops. If you look through that, you really can't see the holes. And you know what? If you crochet with this, let me know in the comments below. You have my admiration. Just saying, because I just knit with it. But anyway, so if you do knit, I don't really have a pattern. I just kind of made it as I went along. Um, I crochet. I mean, not crochet. I cast on. I do a long tail cast on, and usually I will cast on between 30 and 32. Usually I stop counting about 25 or so, and I just kind of just, yeah, okay, yeah, this looks long enough. And then basically I will knit as many rows as it takes to cover my palm. Usually I'll come out here to my thumb. So that's kind of my gauge. And I have a couple that I've made. And see, they're little different sizes, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Now, the reason I do such small pieces, for one, the only thing that comes in contact with my dishes is enough cloth for my hands, right? So basically, this is how I scrub. So I'm not worried about it being um, too small because it's hand size. It's perfect. And if I need to get down deep, I can fold it up and get in there and scrub. And Um, Usually I don't have to. Baked on stuff, usually my dishwasher takes care of that. Sometimes, just as a precaution, I'll soak it in water right after dinner and then let it sit for about 30 minutes and then scrub it out. But yeah, and then I have nonstick um, fry pans, and then I have now I do like these. I have a little hard bristled brush, or I use these when I'm using my cast iron and I have something a little stuck on it. I don't get much stuck on it because they're so well seasoned. But anyway, so if you want to do something like that, cast on 30 to 32 stitches, and that'll give you about, let's see, my hand palm to fingertip is about 6 inches, not counting my nail, but just to the top of my fingertip is 6 inches. So this is about 7 to 8 inches long or wide. And then I do it as tall as, like I said, my palm of my hand. So just do as many rows as you want. And then I do just a typical bind off. Um, Now I do these. I have my chiagus. I love these chiagus. I can't. I don't ever remember how to say. It's CHIAOGOO. Everybody says it differently. But anyway, I love mine because I love the sharp point on them because these are the red lace ones. Now there are sharper points on different needles. I like these, the lace weight. I don't do lace. I do want to. It's I don't really have a need for it because I'm not a real lacy person. But I want to try lace at least once in my life to say I knit lace. So, but these are my preferred knitting needles. I have some that are not. I started with Boy from Walmart back in, I want to say it was 90. I think we got our first computer in 96. Now this is back before YouTube and all them. So and I learned to knit offline, but it was just pictures and stuff on web pages. So I want to say it was about between 96 and 97. And I just used the Boy knitting needles, and they worked for years. And then I can't remember who it was I seen. I think it was somebody at a doctor's office, and she had some of these chiagus, and I'm like, ooh. Now, I've always been a fan of circular needles. Even when I'm doing paneled things, I just prefer the circular needles because and I have the long straight needles, but they kept hitting me in the forearm. I mean, they were fine to learn on, but as soon as I knew what I was doing, I bought me some Boy circulars from Walmart. But anyway, these are the lace weight, the red lace ones, and I used the 5 millimeter, which I think that works. I think that actually might be what this yarn bee calls for. Yeah, well, yeah, because the crochet hook it calls for 5.5 millimeter, and for knitting needles it calls for 5 millimeter. But I have a butt ton of these. I like to give them out. I gave some to my daughter-in-law, and she lost them, I think, because I think I gave her two. So she wanted me to make her some more, and I tried. I went to because this was hiding in my stash, and I couldn't find it. So I went to Walmart and got the red heart one. And I don't know if she was that rough on it. I think it was an inferior ball because I was able to. This I can't snap that easy, but that particular red heart snapped really easy. And so within probably 6 months, she had holes in it. And I'm gonna give her some of these because these are so much better. She uses the sponge that has the sponge on one side and the scrubby on the other. And I'm not a huge fan of the sponges because I think they hold too many germs, but I'll give her some of these, or I'll ask her if she wants some of these now that I actually made some more and dug those balls of Scrubology out of my stash. Now, the dishcloth that I was telling y'all about, I crochet these. And again, I don't make big ones. I think it's a waste of yarn. This is a perfect scrubbing size for me. I have to admit, lately I've been cheating a lot and using my dishwasher, but I still have to use these for pots and pans and stuff. But I mean, it's just a perfect size. It is what it is. So if you want to make these, it's really simple. I cast on, I think, 22. Then I do a row of single crochet. Then I do a row of double crochet. And then on after that row, I do front post. I alternate between regular double crochet and then front post double crochet. And then I turn my work. And on the next row, the ones that I did a regular double crochet in, I do a front post. So I alternate from the previous row. If I did a double crochet, I do a front post or back post, depending on which way I start the pattern. They're basically the same way. It's just, if you know front post and back post, you know what I mean. If you don't, holler at me and I think I can do a tutorial. After that episode with that knitting machine, I don't know if I'm a tutorial person, but and I think I might do that. I might add that, not at the end of this video because I am running a little long talking. I might just make that a video, not really a tutorial, but hey, kind of like a hey, if this thing happens to you, this is kind of what you can do. Because I don't think I'm going to be playing with that machine anymore. But anyway, back to this. So alternating, if I did a double crochet from the previous row, I do a front or back post. Um, and I've done both. That's why I'm saying you can do either. And I do it for about 6 or 7 rows. I mean, that's usually about the width of my hand. And I have very big hands for a lady. But I usually do, just something that, and it has enough of a drape to where when I hang it to dry, it dries really well. So after I finish that 6 or 7 rows, sorry, I'm still not up to full par here yet. I used to not border my washcloths, but I like the structure because if you'll see, I have like 3 of them here. um, if you'll see, I have, it's almost like a waffle stitch, but not really. But this provides enough scrubbing power to where usually I don't have to use my scrubbers unless I use for like the bottom of pots or, like I said, my cast iron. But if you have some, like when you do, I can't eat spaghetti, but I cook it all the time for my family. Uh, like when it kind of gets, how you simmer it, and that top line gets on the side of your pots, this scrubs it off really good. But I usually finish off my dishcloths with a border of single crochets, just to give it that extra little oomph if I need some extra scrubbies, or I don't know. As you can see, I kind of leave the tails dangling, and it's about time for me to okay. Phone just making noises over here. It's about time for me to retire a couple of mine. They don't have holes in them or anything, but and Downy has this new thing. Febreze used to have a dish. I mean, not a dish, a clothes additive to put in your washing machine when things started just to have that little smell to them. Like I said, Febreze used to have it, but they don't make it anymore. And it's almost like a fabric refresher. I think Downy has one out now that I want to try, just to be able to get more. Now, the ones that I currently am using, I think I've had, it's been a year or two. I mean, they last forever. Now, you know how I told y'all when I showed y'all, I have a video that I will put at the very end of this video, um, that I set the color in my cotton yarn so that, these colors don't fade. I don't bother with these. I don't set the color in these because they kind of go, after the first use with that hot water and soapy water, it goes almost white. You lose a lot of the black. Now, in this, they've discontinued this. I had 2 cones and then a ball. And this was sugar and cream. And I can't remember if it was salt and pepper or black speckle. I can't remember the name. I don't have the ball bands anymore, or the cone bands. Um, but any any of the sugar and creams would work. Um, and I usually use, I'm wanting to say, for these, I use like a 4 1/4, I think, which is like the G6. Um, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm almost 100% sure. I don't have it in my bag right now because it's one of the one metal hooks that I use consistently, and it's not in this bag. So I might have pulled it out for something, and who knows? Who knows? Now I keep this to remind myself not to do these anymore. These were a very early washcloth. Um, and I say washcloth because at the time I wasn't making dishcloths. It was just a plain body washcloth. And it's about the size of a regular store-bought washcloth, made all of double crochets, and got something on it, but it's been sitting in the bottom of that bag for, well, not that particular bag, but it's been in the bottom of my rag bag or my dishcloth bag. I think I quit doing these. Uh, wow, I've been crocheting a long time. I want to say about 20 years ago. Wasn't long after my house burned down, so that was 20 years ago. So yeah, it was about 18 years ago that I quit making these. Um, so it's been in my possession since then, and it's just kind of a visual reminder. Don't do this again. But if I ever wanted to use it for something, it would be, a good little hot pad for a serving platter, maybe. I wouldn't put a pot on it because it's so thin, but that's what I like about these flower hot pads, because they're thick and it doesn't get close to being on my table. But anyway, um, and I'm going to do one last thing. Y'all know that I've been talking about this rainbow square blanket from Moogly. I finally got my yarn from Hobie. I'm so excited. So they didn't have um, this particular color, and it was one that I made with that I used out of these packs, and it's the Friends 8/8 cotton, and the gray that I needed for that Moogly blanket has been out of stock since I made that. And I think that was almost a month ago, maybe a month and a half, that I did the squares. So I've been waiting rather impatiently for them to get this back in stock because I really want to finish the blanket. I don't like having multiple whips. Um, it stresses me out because it makes me feel like I have unfinished business, and I don't do well with that. So ask my family, if we get started on something, I want to keep going and going and going and going until I finish it because I don't like things undone. It's a personality trait with me. But I'm so excited to get these, and I ended up buying like 8 of these puppies. Um, so I'm excited to be able to get going on that to finish it off. And I think the way she has her pattern is we do. Oops, we do these. This is up to round 7, and when I finish it, or I can actually let me make a note to myself to post the link. I'll post the link to this pattern below. I have to make myself notes on editing. My son edits, but I do all the descriptions, so I have to make myself notes to post the link to Moogly. But anyway, so you go up to round 7, and you don't do any more on the square until you get ready to do the joining, and then you join them. You do round 8 with the gray or whatever color you so choose, and then you do the 9th round. Now, see, this is where I just glanced at it last night after getting this in. You just glance at, I mean, I just glanced at it. So it says to fasten off after round 8. And then on round 9, you do it, but you don't fasten it off. I have to read the pattern again. But I'm pretty sure the way she's got it written is it is join as you go, because she says she recommends that you do it in a row across. You join in a row across, and then the second row. So I guess I might have to, if it's join as you go, I will have to do round 8 and fasten off all of them to be able to do round 9 and join as I go. Um, I've done different join as you go patterns. I try to, each pattern that has it, I try to do that designer's way first, because you never know which technique you might like unless you try theirs, you know. I'm all up for trying new things, so I'm excited to get this going. And my little dishcloths and scrubbies and all that. That's just almost like the my scrap bag that I have with the little solid granny squares. Those are all things that I keep as quick little things to do. I did cast on a new knitting project. I'll show it later. And I'll give you all the details later. I got frustrated because it's a raglan cardigan, and I got frustrated because I got so far down on it and then ended up having to rip it all out because I ignored the thing where it told me to do a provisional cast on. So on the collar, on the yoke. Um, and when I got to that point and it said unravel the provisional cast on, slip those needles, those live stitches on your needles, I basically had to pick up stitches. And with it being a collar piece, it's garter stitch or knit every row. And I didn't continue that because of the way I picked up the stitches. I didn't see it at the time. I didn't see it until I was a good maybe 2 inches into the work, which means I'd already picked up stitches along the base of the collar and already had started my my raglan to the cardigan itself. So I had a good 2 inches done. And if you know anything, that takes a lot because especially with back and forth. Um, Now, it's so funny. I have to watch what I'm doing on my knit stitches, but on my purls, I don't have to look at all. I maybe it's just the way I knit. It's amazing to me that now crochet, I have to look at most of what I do because I want to make sure I'm putting it in the right hole. So anyway, I will show you that. I will show you that later. I've ran my mouth enough. I just kind of wanted to say I'm here. Um, And I do apologize for the tone of the video that I will post. It might not be on like a on a scheduled day, but it might just be like an add-on as to kind of say, here, hey, if you've done this, if you made this mistake, this is kind of how you can work with it or whatever. But I don't know that that knitting machine is something I'll be using. But anyway, I hope you wonderful people have a great afternoon. I'm going to go crack open these balls and see if I can't get one of my projects finished and done. Because I don't really I haven't put another crochet project together yet because I really did want to get this finished, and I knew I was watching tracking, so I knew it was coming. Um, and I just kind of wanted to get get this wrapped up. So I'm off to do that. And I hope whatever y'all decide to do today, you have fun doing it. I'll see you later. Bye.